What's on, where and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio. Sport. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
You're with the Mako Rugby Roundup, and it's our great pleasure to welcome to the show Mike Fraser. And Mike is the forwards and set piece coach for the Nelson College First 15. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Mate, we've been very impressed with the performance of this very young First 15 this year. So what is your role and how long have you been involved?
Look, when you talk about it being a young team, when you consider we lost 20 players from last year, only 5 back from last year's group, so 2022 was a rebuild year for us. Look, I've been with the Nelson College First 15 for the last 4 years, and, you know, as far as forward coach goes, we also help out in other areas as well, so it's not just really refined to doing that.
Yeah, sure. Look, we've been in awe of the results, certainly with head coach Jono Phillips and what he's achieved. So what do you think sets him apart when it comes to coaching the young men?
I think that's a really good question. You know, I met Jono, I went to the Hurricanes, I think it was 2011, and spent some time there. Jono actually looked after me, that's where I met him, and I was really impressed with his willingness to share information and actually, you know, really made you feel welcome going there. Jono moved to Nelson and I got linked up with him again, and he actually become my coaching mentor, so I feel that I've had, you know, quite a rugby connection with him. We've also coached together. But so when I look at Jono, I think probably his whole professional approach and everything he does, whether it's you know, for identifying the players or skill development, how we play the game, analysing, reviewing, previewing, it's just this whole professional approach. And I think he's got a really good idea what the finished product looks like and how to get there. But when we look at his experience, where he spent, you know, in excess of 7 years with the Scotland international team, he was coached 8 years or so with the Hurricanes, and he's had other professional roles as well. Like, to have that much experience sitting in a place like Nelson here, involved with the First 15 rugby team, is probably pretty outstanding in my view. So some of the things what I've seen with him is he's got a real passion to grow the players, and he wants them to be the best that they can be. It's just not playing rugby, it's about what next. You know, the college is linked up like with these sponsors and to help these boys get careers outside of the rugby. He's very demanding as a coach, so he's really striving for excellence. He drives the standards really hard, and in Jono's world, we have to keep getting better. We've got to keep growing, and it's just not the players, the trainers, the managers, and the coaches. It's the whole team. When we look at the season, and we've scored over 100 tries this season, it's been really free-flowing rugby. And again, that comes down to the style that Jono's put in place, and that follows up the style of rugby, the structures, and even the game analysis he does, looking for the opportunities, where the space is. So I think that what he's doing there is linked into the success of that there. And I think it's really amazing in this environment at Nelson College just how quickly some of these players actually improve. He also drives what they call a Nelson College way, and you know, that's about above the line, you know, no blame and excuses. And he actually, the group actually has a lot of input into what those expectations are, and Jono also has a good relationship with the leadership group who actually drive that. And it probably doesn't pay to be a person that falls below the line, because the group usually dishes out the punishment. So I think as far as our team goes, is that's really set a really professional tone inside that environment. And Jono really drives that as well. Like, he really drives it hard to the point where, you know, if you get players that didn't turn up to training, something like that, he would sit them on the sideline because that's what he believes. So I think that's really important. I think some of the other things that set him outside is actually the connection he has with the Mako setup, the coaches. You know, the Nelson College have a really great old boys network, some great parents, some outstanding sponsors, really great sponsors, in fact, and even the community, which in this group here that the feeling of being connected to the community is important, and even just general rugby people. So I suppose to cap it off, Johnny's a person that actually cares about the people in his group, and he really greatly cares about the game of rugby, where it's at and where it's going to.
Mike, I get the impression he communicates very calmly. You talk about his passion and his standards, but he does it in a really calm manner. And I think, does that resonate well with the players who are in fact just young?
Yeah, very, very much so. And he'll break it down so they can understand it. He'll use video analysis. Like clarity is really important in that group there, because he wants to know that when we go into the game, they've got great clarity. This is a really big part of why this team's been really successful over the last 4 years, in my view.
Yeah. Now, you talk about that success. Obviously, 3 Crusaders titles in 4 years. I know you've won a couple of quads. Do you want to talk us through the achievements that you've had in the 4 years of being involved?
Yeah, look, like when you reflect on it, when I first went into this to think about winning a Crusader competition, I never believed we would do that. But on reflection now, when we've, particularly this year, we created some history and won back-to-back titles in that Miles Toyota Crusader competition. And I think the final was a great day, like at Sports Park, and probably people haven't been to see schoolboy rugby before with a haka, the free-flowing rugby, and then the boys singing at the end of it. So that really capped off a great competition for us. When we look at the quad tournament, this year was the 96th year it's been run, and I understand it's one of the oldest rugby tournaments in New Zealand. When you look at, it's got Wellington College, Christ College, Ronganui Collegiate and Nelson College. And it's a fantastic tournament for these young guys, and to win that 4 years in a row, we were pretty stoked about that.
You would be. That's an amazing achievement. Seriously.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that a first in the history of Nelson College?
Yeah, definitely. We created some history there to get that many wins in a row. Even in the last 4 years, with that South Island final, where we won that in 2019 and 2021. So that's obviously play between the winners of the Crusader School region and the Highlanders region. And unfortunately, this year that we weren't good enough to get the victory this year. But, I think, John McLash, and they deserve to win that, and good luck to them in the top 4. And as we found out when we went to the top 4, it's a different beast up north.
They're bigger men, aren't they?
Yeah. So just on a lighter note, when we look at that success, there's a lot of refs around the front field getting redone. From my point of view, being a forwards coach and having a really muddy home track and 21 mil sprigs, I think we're going to lose a home advantage when we're doing the
field. So the driver of the 5, you're not 100% sure.
No, I reckon that they should have probably left the field the way it is.
That is a lighter note. Hey, Mike, with so many year 11s and year 12s in this team, as you said, right, you only had 5 returning players. This augurs very, very well for next year, doesn't it?
Look, it does, but it's really probably in this group here we never get in front of ourselves because you don't know what's going to happen. But you're right, and I think that probably for this group going forward next year, I think you can expect a group of young men. They're going to be well prepared, and they're going to go on a pretty exciting rugby journey. And I'm sure they'll be determined to better what we've achieved in 2022 on a new field.
Yeah, that'll be great. Hey, just to finish up, Mike, you're the stepfather of Liam Squire, and we're just wondering if you could tell us what one of our Mako legends is up to these days.
Liam, he's actually working as a motorbike mechanic at the moment. So he's taken a whole different track in his life. Outside of rugby, he's bought himself a stock car. So. You can expect him on the stock car track shortly, I suppose, and it's going to be interesting to see how he goes there. He's pretty excited about that, so he's doing really well, thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. We love that man, our All Black and Mako legend. Mike, that's just wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for coming on the show. I know you're a busy man with your logging business, but great to get an insight into the college program, and I think the fact that these boys respond so well to yourself and the other coaches and to Jono is a big feather in your cap.
Cheers. Thank you for that. Appreciate the comments.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thanks for joining us. That's Mike Fraser, and that's the Nelson College forwards and set piece coach. So, yeah, it sounds like quite a professional setup, doesn't it? So, that background that Jono Phillips has set up with his experience with Scotland and previous coaching experience, he's brought all those skills into that first 15 setup, and sounds like it's a well set up machine.
Yeah, and clearly, if you've got a structure and a system and a process in place that is easily transferable year by year, and it's one that the young men respond to, then that's just magnificent. So I do sense a genuine affection underneath that passion to win. I do sense that Jono and Mike have a real passion for, real affection for the young men that they coach, and want them to be better people as well as better rugby players.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's our Mako Rugby Roundup guest, Mike Fraser, the Nelson College forwards and set piece coach.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. It's the talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.